You have to write a lot faster than you're writing here in order for the problems with small loops and curves, etc., to show up.
Yeah, but I don't write that fast, Jay. So to me, that says those people who are trying to write that fast to make the problem show up, write slower. My handwriting all looks the same. Active, EMR, loose leaf. It's all messy, slow, and somewhat legible, right? So, okay, guys, let's get into it. So, what we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to look at the reMarkable Paper Pure, and we're going to look at the Boox Go 10.3. We're going to use the Gen 2 Lumi for this comparison. I'm not comparing them to see which one is the better tablet or not. I'll let you guys decide that. I'm just going to show you guys my two different workflows with these tablets, just like I showed you guys the WeWoods and the Supernote Manta. So yeah, we're gonna hop into this. We're gonna talk about the Pure and the Lumi, but we're gonna look at a couple of things. We're gonna look at the display, then we're gonna move into the workflow. I'll show you guys how I use each one of these tablets, and we'll go over just a couple of quick things. Now, something I'm doing with the reMarkable that I didn't do with the Supernote Manta, and that's going to be the use of community developed software. I'm using Remanager and the reMarkable mods. Now, the reason why I'm comfortable with using the demonstration to show you guys how I'm using reMarkable with the mods, first I want to let y'all know I'm using the mods. But secondly, I just think reMarkable mods are working a little bit better than the Supernote plugins. Not to say that Supernote plugins aren't good and won't work good. I just think that the process of getting them on the tablet and them being integrated within the UI of reMarkable is just working a little smoother than what you have with Supernote, which is expected because that whole program is still in beta. So I think once Supernote gets that out of beta and those plugins are integrated within InkHub, it's probably going to be just as smooth as what you can do with, things like reManager and with reMarkable. For this demonstration, we're going to start out using the ink sense that comes with the Lumi. And of course, we're going to use the reMarkable Pro marker. The first thing that we're going to look at is just the file structure, how I file these things. When it comes to books, I just have a file folder for each week. So for this is going to just be my sample workflow, but I usually have a file folder for each week. At the end of the month, I will go here into my menu, and then I will just hit bulk management. And when I hit bulk management, that bulk management will allow me to combine all of my notebooks for that month, and I can put them in one place where I archive all of this. And to be honest with you, I just have one big archive. So at the end of the year, I'll have one big notebook that has all of my archived work notes for the year. And the outline will give me the opportunity to just be able to still have that organization. So I can go in and find the month and the day, all of that stuff. So that's what I do there. When it comes to reMarkable, I kind of have a similar process where I have a folder for my work notes, and then within that folder for my work notes, I'm going to have a folder for the month, and then I'll have a notebook for each week. And at the end of the month, I will consolidate all of those notebooks into one folder, move it off tablet, and I'll have it in the archive. So that's how I do that process. So we're going to hop into my file structure in Boox, and then we're going to hop into my file structure in reMarkable. So now that we have a couple of different things. reMarkable, I have the ability to have meeting notes separate, but I can move them over. In the Boox platform, I don't have like that meeting notes section. So what I do is I'll just have everything pertaining to work for that week in one folder. So if this would have been the week one folder, I'll have all of that stuff in there, and then I will label those notebooks accordingly. I'll have one notebook for my work journal, and then I'll have another notebook for my meeting notes, for those Zoom calls, morning huddles, things like that. So the first thing we're going to do is hop into, which one is this? Nope, that's not the one I want to hop in first. we're going to hop into the actual meeting notes. And so here I just kind of have a breakdown of what we're going to go over. Same thing on this side as well. I'm going to have a breakdown of what we're going to go over. So Boox, we're going to show you first off just the folder setup. From there, we're going to look at the meeting notes setup. We're going to take a look at how I use links and tags, how I interact with to-dos and events. We're going to look at how I use the outline. And of course, we just talked about how I use bulk management. And then with a bonus, we're going to look at a couple of different styli that I use. Now, when it comes to the reMarkable Paper Pure, again, we're going to look at folder setup. We're going to look at meeting notes. We're going to show you guys convert and share. That's how I kind of use my, that's how I link my to-dos that I have from work with my iOS calendar. And then the two things that I have here highlighted that aren't a part of the native software that I'm going to use are going to be links and, of course, the table of content. So I have the same notes on each tablet. And so we're going to just talk about how I interact and how I use them. So this is going to be the first page. It'll be the first page of my notes. This is what I'll start my day off with. I'll start out with a title. I'll start with the date. And then I usually break my stuff up in 2-hour increments like we talked about last time. And so the first thing that we're going to talk about is just how I set up those headers. Now, Boox and both Boox and reMarkable are slightly different from Supernote and the AI paper platform. Both of those platforms have a form of header. AI paper platform calls it marks. Supernote has a header, and you can identify those headers, and that'll be your indexing. With Boox, it's a little different. So Boox, it's a tag, and I kind of use the tag as a header. And so I'll show you guys that piece. Now I have my smart lasso. I'll tag it. It's going to tag with that 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. And so now I have my header. And so, of course, with that, that's searchable, or you can sort it, index it out however you want to. When you go to your multi-page view, you have a couple of different options. You have your thumbnail view, you have your outline view, which we haven't set up, and then, of course, you have your tags. So you can go to your tags, and, of course, you'll be able to see that. So as the week goes by, as the day goes by, I'll have that where I can hop into those different times, and I can jump to wherever I need to jump to. So that's how I will set that organization up over there. Now, over here on reMarkable, I do something slightly different. With reMarkable, I just highlight them because I don't really need to tag the 6 to 8 a.m. I just highlight them. So you guys see here, I just highlighted it. So I'll go to the next time slot. I'll grab my highlighter and I will just highlight it. Because I use something slightly different for organization on reMarkable. So yes, with reMarkable, I'll just use the highlight. And so that's how I use those two features. Here, I'm going to make it a header and it's going to be searchable. With reMarkable, I highlight it. Now, I could tag it, but I would be tagging the entire page. And I use that for just a different kind of organization if I tag the entire page. So let's say if this entire page was going to be information about flight, let's say it was about flight 1876, and I had a full page of information, that's when I would go here. I would grab that tag, and honestly, I would just tag it flight 8876 info. Have that tag there so I can easily jump back to that if I needed to come back to it. When it comes to just breaking down the times in my notes, I just highlight it. Here, I use the headers. Cool. Now, the one thing that I can do on both, thanks to the reMarkable mods on the Pure, is I can set up a table of content. Now, what I will do to start off my notes is I'll come over here. I'll grab my smart lasso, and now I'm going to circle my date. Once I circle my date, I'm just going to add it to the table of content. So once I do that, it's going to be added to my table of content. And when I go down here, I grab my table of contents. Now I can see look at the table of contents, and you'll see there I have the date. From here, I can actually add important times that I want to fall under that date if I need to come back to it. Important times, important titles to certain notes that I have. That's how I use reMarkable. So I will add those things as sub outlines or table of contents, right? So let's say I have that, and then the next thing I want to do is add the 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. So let's say something important happened at that time frame for me. Then I will just use my smart lasso again, add that to the table of content. So when I go to my table of content, now I have them both. Now, what's cool about this is I can make this like a sub outline. I can go to edit, and from edit, I select my arrow to move it right. Once I do that, now it's going to make that entry like a sub entry of the first date. So I have my original outline or table of content entry, then I have that sub entry right there. And that's how I set up the indexing or table of content for the reMarkable tablet. Now, over here with Boox is going to be slightly different. Now, I have the opportunity to set up an outline. And for Boox, what I'm going to do is I'm going to long press. After a long press is going to give me the option to set up my outline. So from there, I'm just going to grab that option. Once I hit add to outline, I can call this whatever I want to call it. We're going to call it Friday 8/8. And now that's going to be on page 1. And from there, I can go to my multi-page view. And now I'm going to go to my outline. And now I have this as my outline. I have this. This is my outline. Now, if I want to, if I had something on this page that I want to make a sub outline, I can simply select that. We're going to add sub outline, and I'll go from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And now I have the sub outline. So now I have the main outline and the sub outline pretty much the same way I have it over here on the reMarkable when I look at my table of content. I have my original entry, and then I have the sub entry. Same thing on both tablets. And when you select it, it's going to take you to that page. Something else that I use on both tablets is going to be image insertion. I like to insert images within my notes. reMarkable gives you the option to insert images, but of course, when you're inserting images on reMarkable, you have to actually go through the partner app. So I would have to go on the computer, go through the partner app. I'm going to insert the image where I need to insert it to. And it's not a big deal for me because a lot of times I'm grabbing my images off the computer anyway. Boox, however, is a little bit more convenient because I have a couple of different options on how I can insert those images. Of course, I can always drop them using Send to Boox in my computer. So I have a lot of images on my computer. When I'm ready to have those images inserted in my notes, I'll just send them to the tablet, and then from there, I insert them. Another way to do that as well is through the web browser. So I can go to Neo browser, and I do this a lot at work. If I'm looking for a specific image for, let's say, a specific tool, I go to Neo browser, copy and paste it in the notes. However, I also can just grab the image. So what we're going to do is go to insert. From there, we're going to go to insert image, and then I'm just going to grab that image that I want. These are images that I pushed over. Once I have the image, I can just resize it, move it to where I want it to go, and then it's there. And that's how I can insert images within my notes. And you can do a lot with these images that you've inserted in your notes. You can use them as key points to tag events that you made, things like that, or you can just press and hold it like I did. And from there, you can delete it if you need to. copy it if you need to, duplicate it if you need to, and of course I can use this thing and create an event from it if I want to create an event with that image attached to it. On the reMarkable side, the only thing I can do, I can manipulate it. I can move it around if I need to move it around somewhere. Move. So I can move it around if I need to move it around somewhere. I probably should be using that pen. All right. And then, of course, I can cut, I can copy. So I can do that as well. So another tool that I use when it comes to my workflow with these tablets is going to be linking. Let's say if I'm going to a meeting and I need some information from a previous meeting. So here I'm going to be going to the Zoom meeting. I have a PDF of an email that I sent over, or let's say I have a document that I sent over to the tablet that I'm going to use for that meeting. I'll simply just link that document to the tablet, and it's a couple of ways I can do it. One thing I'll do is I'll hit my links, and I will go to attach file. And then from my file, I'm going to grab whatever that PDF, EPUB, whatever it is, even if it's a website, I can attach those. And so right now I see this is going to be the document that I want to attach. It was the latest one that I pushed over. I'm just going to select it. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to give me a choice of how I want that icon to be displayed. And so from there, I can rename it if I want to, and I just hit OK. Now, a lot of times I will add the link this way. By adding the link this way, it's not tied to any text. So I can freely move this link around the page wherever I need to move it to. Now, I also can link this document. Let's say I want to link it to the actual time, right? So I use my smart lasso, and then from there, I'm going to go to link, and then I'm going to go to link file again, and then I'm going to select my file. I'm going to hit OK. Let's say we do icon only, and now I'm going to hit OK. And I have it there, but it's just attached to the strokes. So I would have to move these strokes to move that link. And as you guys can see, the link is, on top of some words a little bit. And so depending on where I have the information written, I might attach it directly to that, but I usually just attach the link in the area of whatever that note is. So I'm going to the Zoom meeting, see meeting notes. I can select this link. I can choose to open it in NeoReader. Once I go to NeoReader, now I have this document that I'm going to use for work. Okay. And then when I get ready to jump back, I just simply go back. I normally have my notes on recent, and then I'll just go back to my recent notes, or I can use the multi-switcher. I can use that multi-switcher, and then I can jump in between notes, right? So I can do that as well. On the reMarkable Paper Pure, this is another mod that I added, which is going to be a mod that I added for reManager, right? So I'm here. I know I'm going to have a Zoom meeting here. So what I will do is go to my table of content, and then from there, I'm going to go to link to a document. Once I go to link to a document, I'm going to go find said document that I want to link it to. And here is that document right here. I'm going to select the document, and now it's going to be added to my table of content as a link. Under the area I need to link that, I'm going to hit save. So now when I get ready to go to that document, I just go to my TLC. I'm going to select that document. It's going to take me to that document. And now I'm here, I'm viewing the document. When I get through viewing the document, I can just simply go back to my, it's just one page. Yeah, it's just one page. When I get through viewing the document, I can just simply go back. Normally I will use my top gestures here. I will have my recents, and then I just jump back into that note that I was using. And that's how I use that feature. So the table of content and the linking features are the two features that I'm using that are mods for the tablet. When it comes to events for reMarkable, we don't have a true calendar app, so I can't create events directly from reMarkable. How I handle reMarkable and events or meeting notes is I like to use reMarkable's meeting note feature. So when I select my meeting notes here, it's going to tell me which notes I have upcoming or which meetings that I have scheduled through my calendar, because it is linked to my calendar. It'll let me know what meeting I have scheduled to go to. And from there, I just select it. And I like the fact that it'll hop in the meeting. It's going to give you kind of like a breakdown or summary agenda. Is going to tell you here the date, sample Zoom meeting. It's going to have an agenda. If there were any participants or other guests that will be within this meeting, it's going to have all that information there. If I would have had any meeting notes attached to that invite, all of that information is going to be there. And then from there, I can just start taking notes. Now, what I kind of like to do with this one is I'll change my template on the first page. Where's that template I used to use? I'll change it to this template on the first page. So my first page, I have my information at the top, then I have my lines. And then when I proceed to the next page, I'll just switch that template back out to my normal template I use for note taking. And then I'll have that. So I have my notes. And once I get through with my meeting notes, I will take these meeting notes and I will move those meeting notes to the folder for the week. So it will be this folder, move those meeting notes there. So now I have the meeting notes in my work journal within the same filing structure. Now, when it comes to the Boox tablets, I kind of do something different. I can actually create events. So let's say if this is an event I want to create from a meeting I had, I know I want to create this event, I'll just use my smart lasso. And then from there, of course, guys, I will create my event. It's going to take the information. As long as the information is how I need it to be, it's going to already give me that link back to my notes. So if I want to continue to take meeting notes in this notebook, I have that there. I'll just hit OK. It's going to schedule that in my calendar. Now let's check out my calendar. So now if you see, this is that meeting that we just added from my notes in the calendar. But this is the meeting that we found on our meeting notes that was already linked to the calendar for the Zoom meeting. What I can do, once I see I have this meeting prepped, I can go edit. And then from there, I can add a notebook. I can add a notebook. I can add a file. I can add an image, whatever it is that I want to add. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to add the actual notebook that I have set up for the meetings. So we're going to go to notes. And once I get to notes, all I have to do is just find the notes within my file structure. So from here, I will go to meetings. I'll go to samples. I'll select that. Now I have that notebook linked to this meeting. And then I hit OK. So now when I'm looking at this event, I see I have a notebook already linked to it. I select it. And it's going to take me to that meeting note that I have set up already. But that's pretty much just how I use both those tablets for work, similar to the workflow that I have with the AI paper platform and Supernote. Now, a couple of things that I will say when it comes to reMarkable, the native calendar app, not a big deal for me because I like how the meeting notes are handled. But I will say I do miss the functionality of the AI paper calendar that I get, because that homepage that I use with the AI paper platform, I have a snapshot of everything. I can manipulate my to-dos or see those quick memo notes. And you guys know I like I call them the sticky notes. I like that aspect of the memos on the AI paper platform. I mean, Boox, of course, we have memos as well with Boox. So with Boox, you still have that memo element of it, right? When I go here, I have a lot of memo space for note taking. I can still use this. I like that. And also, these memo notes on the Boox platform will sync across platform.